questions. We constantly ask ourselves and others questions. We have evolved as a species by asking questions. If you interact with other people, you must ask and answer questions. And if you interact with AI, you definitely ask questions. Therefore, mastering question formation is key to your fluency and personal growth. Let's break it down. There are yes, no questions, and they are called that because the answer to these questions is always yes or no. In order to form yes, no questions, we use the following formula. Auxiliary plus subject plus verb plus object. This formula is consistent throughout all the verb tenses. In other words, it never changes. So let's try a little example in simple present. That means our event happens with a frequency, in this case, let's say twice a week. The information is, Susan goes running along the river twice a week. To determine if this is true or false, we ask, does Susan go running along the river twice a week? The answer is yes, she does. Yes or no questions. Very, very few people understand the power of yes or no questions, especially at the stage when they learn this. You learn this structure at the very beginning of your English journey, and this is easy, and you're looking forward to more complicated challenges. But the power you are given when you learn how to make and answer yes or no questions is immense. You can go from very basic and important questions, such as, does she eat breakfast every morning? Do they play soccer on weekends? Does she speak French fluently? Does she like chocolate ice cream? To more elaborate questions, such as, does she consistently maintain a rigorous exercise routine that includes both cardiovascular and strength training activities to improve her overall physical health and fitness? Or does she meticulously organize her daily schedule, utilizing advanced time management techniques and digital productivity tools to maximize efficiency and achieve both personal and professional goals? The answer in both cases is yes, she does. Auxiliary plus subject plus verb plus object. You can travel the world on yes or no questions. The information was, Susan goes running along the river twice a week. Now, I want to know the frequency of this event. This is not a yes, no question, because the answer is not yes or no. This question requires a specific answer. Here the formula is question word, auxiliary, subject, verb, object. Just like the other case, the formula remains consistent. It never changes. It's your best and most loyal friend. The question word for frequency is, how often? How often does Susan go running along the river? She goes running along the river twice a week. Mastering question formation is key. You cannot take it seriously enough. Let's do a little example in the past simple. The information is, Susan went climbing in Patagonia 2 years ago. To determine if this is true or false, did Susan go climbing in Patagonia 2 years ago? The answer is, yes, she did. Auxiliary, subject, verb, object. I want to know the location. The question word is, where? Where did Susan go climbing 2 years ago? The answer is, in Patagonia. Do not underestimate simplicity. You must start with simple sentences in order to get really good at it. If you are networking with others and don't really know what to say, just listen to the information and then turn it into a question and feed it back to them. It makes for a great conversation. You are not being treated like a child when your teacher provides simple sentences or examples. For instance, imagine you see a picture of a man ordering lunch at a restaurant, and the question is, what is the man doing? The purpose of the question is not to test whether you understand the picture. A child could easily grasp that. Instead, the goal is to describe what is happening in English without, let me emphasize, without translating. There's no need to translate because the concept is straightforward. As you progress, the sentences and examples will naturally become more complex, aligning with your growing proficiency. This is the formula for object questions. They are called that because they ask about the object. Subject questions are slightly different. Let's see. First, there is no subject. You are asking the question about the subject. The information is, Susan went climbing in Patagonia 2 years ago. Question word for this subject. Who, so no subject, no auxiliary. Subject questions don't take an auxiliary. Just question word plus verb plus object. Who went climbing in Patagonia 2 years ago? Susan went climbing in Patagonia 2 years ago. Most questions are object questions. Remember that. By mastering these question forms, you unlock one of the most powerful tools in language fluency. Practice them often, and they will serve you well. In the age of AI, the future is not humans versus machines, but a seamless collaboration between the two. Language development and improvement are at the heart of this partnership. As AI becomes an integral part of our lives, assisting with decision-making, automating processes, and enhancing creativity, human language remains the bridge for communication. Whether giving commands, clarifying intentions, or refining AI-generated outputs, the ability to articulate thoughts clearly and effectively will shape how we collaborate with our digital counterparts. AI may process vast amounts of data, but humans bring context, nuance, and emotional intelligence, all expressed through language. By sharpening our linguistic skills, we ensure not only that AI understands us, but that we can guide and interact with it in meaningful, productive ways. In this era, speaking to machines in human language is not just a skill, it's a necessity for innovation and progress.